Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is
Life with
Twins. On last week's episode, we talked about our very first IUI, intrauterine insemination.
Good job.
Thank you. And we talked about how the symptoms were, and obviously you guys know that it failed. So today we were going to talk about our second IUI, and also this time we wanted to get into the costs associated with it through our insurance.
So as you know, our first IUI took place in early August, and we found out mid-August that it didn't work. And so when you start your next cycle, we decided to increase our dosage of Clomid. So the doctor gave us the option of doing the 50 milligrams again and just hoping that it would be a different result because every cycle is different, or to jump to the 100. Well, me being an eager person, we jumped to the 100.
Because you only had the one follicle.
I only had the one follicle with the 50. And so my thought was 100 would be what we need to get the 2 to 3 follicles. And it gave us more. So we went in for our ultrasound after taking the Clomid from, I think we did it this time, day 2 through day 6. And we went in for our ultrasound before we would trigger for ovulation. And she found 3 great follicles. So for her, she says that a follicle can have a mature egg if it's greater than 10 millimeters. And I think we had we had an 18, a 20, and a 22. So we had 3 really great ones. But additionally, we had 2 borderline follicles. I don't know what their numbers are, but I'm guessing that they were probably 8 millimeters. Well, with our 8 millimeters follicles, she was worried that by triggering them and giving them the 36 hours before we were to inseminate, that they could become mature eggs. And since it was only our second cycle and we've gotten pregnant once before, we didn't want to take the risk of having potentially 5 babies. So we canceled. And that was a really hard thing to decide because I was so eager to get pregnant. I was like, really, what's the likelihood of having them all implant? Knowing what I know now, I probably would have gone with it because we went through 5 IUIs and didn't get pregnant with any of them. Mm-hmm. However, at that time, we did not know the struggle that we would go through. And so we decided to cancel it. Which was really hard because we had tried for a year. Our first IUI didn't work. And then I was just kind of annoyed with myself that I didn't just do the 50 milligrams. But we didn't know what would happen.
Yeah, when you start seeking medical attention, or medical help, you think that, okay, well, the doctor's here, they'll be able to fix this like on the very first try. Mm-hmm. And so when it doesn't happen right away, it's kind of even more frustrating because you finally are feeling like, okay, I'm vulnerable enough to put myself into the situation where I'm going to seek help. And then when you still are not having success, it's really frustrating to feel that way.
It's really frustrating. As far as the side effects with the Clomid, increasing the 50 to 100, I did have significant more hot sweats. I got hot flashes all the time, and I feel like I would have a hot flash, and then as soon as it was over, I was hot flashing again, and it was intense. And I still took them at night, thinking that I would sleep through most of them, but it honestly did not help. Mm-hmm. So, since we had to cancel our second IUI, and that was early September, we waited for our next cycle, which started at the end of September. And so we had to go in for a baseline ultrasound, which are usually done between day 2 and 4, I think. And that's just to see if you have any cysts before starting medications. So if you have a cyst on your ovary and you take ovarian stimulating hormones, it's just going to make that cyst get bigger. And so we did a baseline ultrasound and I had a cyst. And so we had to cancel another cycle, which again was very frustrating because you look back and you're just like, if I would have just done the 50, then I wouldn't have had to skip 2 months. But everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And so we just kept going with it. The doctor put me on a birth control to help like regulate my hormones so that my body wouldn't produce ovulating hormones so that it wouldn't make the cyst grow. So she said it may work, it may not work, but we figured we don't want to wait. We don't want to have to go in next cycle and the cyst still be there.
So let's just take action.
Let's just try this.
Yeah.
If it works, great. Then we can start again. If it doesn't, well, we tried.
But at least we're being proactive and we're doing our part.
Mm-hmm.
How much of this was actually covered by your insurance, though? Because we haven't talked about that yet.
So thankfully, I think because we went to I went to an OB office who had a reproductive endocrinologist in-house. And by doing that, they charge significantly less because it's not a fertility clinic per se. So that helped us. However, that office was only Monday through Thursday for the fertility specialist. So if your window happened to fall on a Saturday or Sunday, then you would have to cancel your cycle, or she would make you ovulate a little bit earlier or try to have you ovulate a little bit later. So it may not have always fallen on at the right time. But for us, that was fine because we didn't think that we were going to need serious help. And so we were okay with doing a Monday through Thursday fertility place. So with her being in an OB office, only open Monday through Thursday, we didn't get charged as much. As far as my insurance plan goes, it covered $5,000 of any fertility treatments, not including medications, for like just anything that I would have to pay.
But that was a one-time deal that
Yes.
your insurance would pay it forever. So you only had the $5,000
for the entire time that I'm an employee.
So even the following year, it doesn't reset where
No.
you're at. It was just, hey, you reused the
you
money.
get a lifetime $5,000.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't cover it 100%, so I still ended up having to pay. So it still worked like how my insurance does when I go in to get an ultrasound or go to a doctor's office. They'll cover that bit and you pay the copay. And so that part that they were covering came out of that $5,000. So it's not like I got all of my IUIs for free.
Mm-hmm.
I think she charged $100 for the sperm washing, which was not covered under the $5,000 because that's for me. It doesn't include his stuff. And then I think the IUI was $200, but I only paid $50. So then the insurance paid the $150. So for the sperm wash and the IUI, we paid $150. Now that doesn't include your ultrasound ahead of time, which for me, all my copays are $50. So the ultrasound that I had ahead of time to make sure that we were ready to ovulate was $50. So that's about $200 that we had to pay right there for an IUI. And then my trigger injection, I believe, was only $50 at this office. So that's about $250 in office fees for an IUI. And then there's the Clomid on top of that. Clomid was a little bit more expensive than the Femera, which we tried later on. I believe the Clomid was $25 for the 50 milligrams and $50 for the 100 milligram. I could be wrong on that. So still, you're looking at $250 to $300 for one IUI.
Yeah. And the thing was, we decided, where I work, when we looked at the benefits by going through my work, it seemed like mine was a reimbursement, so we would have to pay everything up front, and then at the end of the year, basically try and get it back.
Reimbursed.
Yeah, so we decided not to go with mine. Now, one of the things that
because it also wasn't a guaranteed that you would get reimbursed. So
yeah, one of the things that we were considering at the time was because we had been doing some research, and it seemed like Starbucks has really, really great insurance when it comes to family planning,
even for their part-time employees.
Yeah. So the way that we had read it, and I mean, we could be wrong, but the way we had read it
at the time when we were looking into it
and understood it, like we were just going to work there. I was going to work there part-time until I got the benefits, and then they paid up to like $20,000 per year for family planning and stuff like this for fertility. Yeah. So if we had to do it again, we would
probably do something like that.
Yeah, just because financially, like, it's just such a hassle to not only try and go through the IVF stuff and then pay that up front, but then on top of that, once the kids come, obviously kids are super expensive. So long term, if we would have been smarter, I think that's the route we would have gone.
And more patient. We weren't patient enough to wait I wasn't patient enough to wait to start a job to allow those benefits to kick in order for us to like do more IUIs or IVF. Yeah. So
I think that's good for now. So I just wanted to make sure to let you guys know how much we appreciate you. Mm-hmm. We have been getting more and more comments about how helpful some of these videos have been when it comes to those people who kind of are
going through it, or they know somebody who's going through it.
Yeah, so please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the videos, because by doing that, it just helps expand the reach to help more people out.
And if there's anything that we didn't expand on that you have questions about, or anything that you want to know that we didn't really cover in any of our videos, let us know. We're happy to shoot videos that just answer people's questions.
Yeah, it's what we're here for. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
So Nicole, how late were you up watching you?
How late were you up watching you?
Till 4 a.m. Okay, are you ready?
I was in bed and I wake up and I'm just like looking at the clock. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. He's just glued. Like, go to bed, it's 4. What? It's 4.
I smiled like a serial killer. Hi. It's you. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you.
You're watching us.
I didn't realize that you were watching us. Did you catch me watching you from across the hall? That cocoa butter that you put on. We've watched a lot of you in the past 24 hours. I'm feeling extra creepy lately. Okay.
We watch a lot of you.
Of you.
Not the show. You.
You. Stop. Okay. Let's do this.
It's hi, I'm Anthony.
Oh, this is Anthony. Now I have you stuck in my head. This is Anthony, and this is you.
Oh god.
Okay, let's try again, because we're not getting sponsored by you. So, but Netflix, if you do want to sponsor us, we will talk about you all the time. Okay. All right. I'm super tired. All right.